catch up with you a bit later on, see if I can find anybody else who is buying this book, and perhaps I might even I tell you, here's the challenge, I might even speak to someone who comes out of the shop who has got a copy in their hands, and we can flick through together and look at all the tittle-tattle.
That'd be amazing.
And I'll catch up with you probably after 9.
If that happens, interrupt the show at any point, and we'd love to put that on. Thank you very much indeed. Listening to that is CK Goldiing. CK is the founder of Icons and Machines, a PR firm here in Sheffield. Let's talk about the PR. How's this gone for Harry? CK, good morning.
Morning, Toby. I've got to say, I've never been as fascinated by the comings and goings of a bookshop as the last 10 minutes. That was extraordinary.
I mean, it sounds fascinating. Unfortunately, he's getting quite lonely up there. You work in PR. PR is the dark arts. This is the stuff that people struggle to understand. How's Harry understanding it? Is this working for him?
Listen, do you know what I find staggering? I'm amazed that people seem to think that Harry is a passive participant in this media circus that he finds himself at the centre of. The man's 38 years old. He is a member of arguably the most famous, well-known family on the planet. And we all know about the relationship and how he feels about the media at large. So to suggest that he's a passive participant is just inconceivable to me. He absolutely understands how the media works, and as one of your contributors in your Vox Pop says, he's now using it to his own benefit.
I can understand why you said that. I think you might be exactly right. Apart from, there was just a touch in the interview where I thought, actually, he's lost it. He really is. Obviously, I mean, I have a view of the press, which is not a good one. But he's actually demonising them. He thinks there's almost something evil about them. I wondered if he'd just gone a bit too far. I may be wrong, obviously.
I mean, you know what? Truthfully, my lack of clinical training makes me highly inappropriate to comment on his mental health. But what I would say is that if what you're saying was to be correct, then the guy's lost his mum. And he will perceive the manner in which he lost his mum would be due to media hounding. So if he now has an unfavourable outlook on the media, I don't think anybody would. We'd all have sympathy with that to a degree, right?
I think you'd have to. You certainly have to have sympathy with the situation. If you don't like him, you've got to have sympathy with the situation, haven't you? He lost his mum at the age of 12. That's not right. That's just not fair. Let's talk about because he is brand conscious. She certainly is brand conscious. These interviews, are they going to enhance their brand?
Can you say that again, Toby?
Are these interviews going to enhance the brand of the Sussexes?
Well, that's a really interesting subject to me, and I've been discussing this at length over the last week, and I think we should also be mindful of the fact that what we perceive to be an appropriate brand for Harry might be at complete odds with how he sees his future. So Harry's always been something of an outlier as far as the royal family are concerned. So there's nothing new there. But I would argue with him growing up in a generation of the Kardashians, for argument's sake, it doesn't seem unlikely to me that he's looked at that and thought, you know what, that is actually a rather efficient route towards endless cash. So my point is, maybe how we perceive Harry to have been for the last 38 years has nothing to do with how he wishes to the next 38 years of his life to pan out. So maybe he's actually made a rebrand, for want of a better word. A carefully orchestrated rebrand.
That makes sense, doesn't it? Talking of the rebrand, what about the royal family? They have a way of dealing with things. They're still dealing with those things in that way, the kind of don't explain, don't complain. Do they need to change? Are they modern enough?
Again, at the risk of sounding glib, I'm probably the least effective person to ask that question because I'm acutely ambivalent as far as the royal family are concerned. So I don't know if I'm the right person to ask, but it really depends on who you're asking. If you ask my mum, for example, she won't hear a bad word said against them. If you ask my brother, he'll be like, why are you asking me this question? I'm not interested. And as that seems to be mirrored by a lot of your Vox Pops, actually. I think more people are ambivalent to the royal family than you would imagine. But equally, there are swathes of the population that are in love with them.
This is very true. CK, thank you very much indeed for your time. That's CK Goldiing.
Toby at Breakfast.
Toby at Breakfast.
On BBC Radio Sheffield.